What's going on, everybody? My name is Monatui, coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays, and today I'm bringing you guys our PPL Season 4 Week 9 and 10 matches versus Slyro as well as Alex, aka Onesie Bennett. I apologize that I'm clumping two videos together, but unfortunately I'm a little bit pressed for time, and also I apologize very much that these videos are late. I played Sly very late, and then I couldn't get the match recorded because I was at my college all week, and then I ended up playing Alex somewhat recently. So I just decided to put these two videos together. I'm not going to put out a team builder for each of these videos because, again, I'm pretty pressed for time. So I'm just going to do a quick rundown of both of the teams. To start off, we have our game versus Slyro. As you can see on screen right now, I am bringing a Double Dance Terrakion with holding the Life Orb Dual Stab. So like Close Combat, Stone Edge, Swords Dance, Rock Polish. I'm bringing a Nasty Plot, Thunder Waving, Zap Plate, Thunderous. I actually have a physically defensive Acid Armor Jellicent, which I'm very glad I came up with because I realized a lot of his offense was physically offensive, and after an Acid Armor I wasn't too KO'd by a lot of them. We have our lead Custat Berry Fortress because his hazard removal wasn't great. It was Togekiss and then some Rapid Spinner that Jellicent walled. And then we have Standard Mega Altaria, Earthquake, Turn, Dragon Dance Roost, and then we have Max Attack, Max Spadef, Black Glass, Skuntank. So with that being said, let us move into the game. I'm going to lead with my Fortress, of course, as he leads with his Mega Steelix. I don't care if he has Fire Fang. I'm just going to get on my Stealth Rock and my Spikes afterwards. That's this thing's job. As you can see, he does go for the Fire Fang. Doesn't bring me down to Sturdy. I'm going to set up a layer of Spikes as he then hits me with the Earthquake, which actually knocks me out, which I was kind of surprised about. I believe he got some sort of high roll there, but not the biggest deal in the world. Fortress did its job, got up Rocks and Spikes, and now I'm just going to send in my Jellicent and fire off a Scald as he sends in Togekiss, which is able to tank it relatively well, but based on that damage, it reveals that he has very little HP, so I'm thinking offensive, and this damage confirms it with the Air Slash that has to be max special attack, so my best play here is to go for a Nasty Plot, because he can either send in his Steelix and be immune to the electric move, and if I set up a Nasty Plot, I knock him out with Focus Blast on the next turn. Could go out into Tyranitar, but the only reason he'd send in Tyranitar is if he is somewhat bulky, and then I can knock him out with +2 Focus Blast. Or he would send out this Reuniclus. So I could either go for Focus Blast or an electric move. I decide to go for the Nasty Plot, which is my better play. And as you can see here, I can knock out his Reuniclus if he is not Assault Vest, but he is Assault Vest. You can see he took Hazards damage, so he's also unaware, or Regenerator rather. But we will be able to knock him out with 2 Thunderbolts, and he did not want to switch anything into that. So here he's going to send out his Scolipede as I go for the Thunder Wave, but unfortunately for me, he's going to end up being Lumberry. Very good prep on his part, because having his Scolipede paralyzed would have been really nice for my Mega Altaria. I would have been able to paralyze him, switch out into something like my Terrakion, threaten something with a Stone Edge, and then after Hazard's damage he would have been in range of Earthquake. But regardless, he's going to get a speed boost, but I am going to go out into my Jellicent, which walls this thing completely as he's going to switch out into his Togekiss. If I get the burn here, I will be able to knock out Togekiss with this Scald. However, he does not get burnt, but thankfully I can tank the Dazzling Gleam, which he goes for on the next turn, and then I can knock out his Togekiss with the following Scald. So we're in a little bit of a bad situation, but not the worst thing in the world. Here he is going to go out into his Victini, and I'm going to send out my Skuntank, which he cannot knock out, and I can Pursuit Trap him or go for the Sucker Punch and knock him out. But unfortunately, he is going to get a crit and knock out my Skuntank. Now, that crit matters because, well, it's kind of good and kind of bad in a way. It's bad because I lose my Skuntank and I could have gone for Sucker Punch there and knocked out his Victini. Even if he switched out on my Sucker Punch, he would have to switch in and take a lot of damage from the hazards that are up. But also, it kind of sucks because, well, actually, it's kind of good because I know that he's banded now, because there's no way he could have knocked me out there unless he was banded. So what this allows me to do is go out into my Mega Altaria, and I could have clicked Earthquake here, but I get a little bit greedy and I go for the Dragon Dance here. Earthquake would have been the better play. It's not that big of a deal, but I go for Dragon Dance. I can't knock out his Mega Steelix, and he has the chance to Oko me, so I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to go out into my Jellicent, tank the Heavy Slam even though he does crit me, and then we can recover up on the next turn, which is exactly what I decided. Actually, on this turn, I'm going to go for Acid Armor, because I realize I win. Like, his physical attackers in well, the rest of his team, I got rid of his both of his special attackers. He's going to send in Victini, but because I go for the recover here, he can't knock me out with the banded Bolt Strike no matter what unless he crits me, which means that I'll be able to tank the Bolt Strike. It's only going to do about 45%, and then I can go for a second Acid Armor, making it so that his Tyranitar cannot revenge kill me. So unless he crits me in the process of me going for recovers or acid armors, I win this game with Jellicent here. So as you can see, I'm tanking these hits. He's going to go for one more. He gets the paralysis, which honestly I did not even know Bolt Strike could do until this game. But I'm going to get back to full health. As long as he doesn't crit me here, I'll be able to knock out his Victini. He doesn't crit me here. He doesn't get the full para, and I knock him out with Scald. So now, the only thing that can knock me out is a crit from his Tyranitar. And even if he does crit me, I can go out into my Terrakion afterwards, click Swords Dance, click Rock Polish, and then win the game. Or Swords Dance, one of the two. I forget which one I needed to click. I think Rock Polish, so I can outspeed Scolipede after a boost. But I'm going to go for Scald. He crunches me, doesn't crit me, and he does get burnt, which means he can't knock me out even if he does crit me, which is really nice. He's going to go for another crunch, get the defense drop, which doesn't really matter because I have the defense that I need to live the hits from the rest of his team. I should have recovered there in case he did end up critting me, but I go for another Acid Armor. It doesn't matter. I would have been able to wall them anyway, and as you're going to see, he goes down to burn, and now I just have two physical attackers, and, well, he has two physical attackers, I apologize, and he's going to go for the Paraflinch combination, which would be his best play if his Rock Slides weren't doing less than leftovers. So the only way he can really win is if he crits me enough times to the point where he can kill me and gets the para flinch, like, each time. And he realizes that the chances of that happening are very unlikely, so he's just going to go for Earthquake. He pretty much knows he's going to lose here. I'm going to go for Scald. Doesn't kill, but again, there's not anything he can do. Just for fun, he's going to go for Fire Fang on this turn. Does 2%. That's hilarious. And then I'm going to knock him out with the next Scald. And now all he has left is his Scolipede, which he will be able to send in, but it will go down to the next Scald after the hazards damage, which is really, really nice. So he's going to send it in. He's going to go for the Rock Slide, attempting to Paraflinch me, again doing nothing. And then just to spite him, I'm going to get a crit on the Scolipede. And we're going to win this game 3-0. So that was a really good game. Earlier on, the Lumbreon Scolipede scared me a little bit, but we ended up winning this game, which is really, really nice. I'm really glad I thought of Acid Armor Jellicent, because I had this thing the entirety of last season, and I did not know that it got, Acid Armor, and then I looked at his team, and I saw that this was available, and I was like, hell yeah, let's throw that on there, and ended up putting in the finest of work, which is really cool. Jellicent, on a team with Thundurus, Incarnate, Mega Altaria, Terrakion, Jellicent got 5 kills, which is really, really cool. So this was a really good game, really fun game, really glad my planning ended up working out, and now we are going to move on to our Week 10 game versus Alex, aka 1Z Banette. For a quick rundown of this team, the first thing I noticed that I wanted was Sub, Combine, Roost, Psyshock, Mew, physically defensive with leftovers, because he did not have a Dark type. There was absolutely no Dark type on his team, which meant that I could spam Psychic moves across the entirety of it. He did have a Bronzong, but I set up all over Bronzong. I got to +6, and then I just spammed Psyshock until it dies, because it doesn't have reliable recovery. Obviously can't Toxic me from behind a sub. Gyro Ball did nothing to me, so that's the reason I have that. After that, we have a nasty actually, this is, I believe, Double Dance Thundurus, Thunderbolt, HP Ice, hit the entirety of his team. We have similar set to last time, but no Acid Armor. Instead, we have Ice Beam instead, so we have Scald, Taunt, Ice Beam, and Recover. I wanted Ice Beam just to hit things like the Thundurus, as well as the Crobat, as well as, I believe he had something else on his roster that I wanted Ice Beam for, but that's what we have there. We have Specially Defensive Piloswine with Stealth Rock, 3 attacks. We have Bulky, Dragon Dance, Heal Bell, Mega Altaria with Return as its only attacking move, and then we have, similar set to last time, a Black Classes Spadef-ish Skuntank, meant to Pursuit Trap the Azelf, as well as get Sucker Punch on everything, and as you can see on his team, he does not have a Dark Resist, so it's going to be very useful. So, that being said, let's get into the game. I decided to lead with Jellicent as he leads his Crobat. He's going to reveal the Giga Drain, which is fine by me, because it's not doing a lot of damage, and I will be able to get a ton of damage off onto him with the Ice Beam. And on this turn, I could have clicked Scald to fish for a burn, but I wanted to click Ice Beam, expecting the Volcanion to come in. And even though that may seem a little bit silly, him revealing leftovers is huge, because at this point, I'm thinking, okay, he's definitely going to have Sub, and he may or may not have Toxic. So I'm going to go out into my Mew, expecting him to want to go for the Sub, and then me thinking he's going to be Sub-Toxic is going to be very crucial here, because I expect him to go for Toxic, I go for a Sub, and I'm going to block the incoming Toxic. So how I predicted that? Really just because I used Sub-Toxic Volcanion in another league that I'm just playing for fun, and I realized that that was really, really smart. Again, I figured sub because he had the leftovers, and sub toxic just makes sense versus my team, so I really expected something like that to come, and I'm very glad I predicted this the way I did. So as you can see here, I'm behind a sub. He has to attack me in order to break it, and he only has 8 Steam Eruptions, which is really nice. So he's going to go for the Steam Eruption, will break my sub. I have to get up to +3, I believe, in order for this to not break my sub. So, as you can see here, I'm going to go for sub, seeing if he'd want to go for the Toxic or Steam Eruption again. Also just stalling out his Steam Eruptions, because now he only has 6 left. On this turn, I'm going to go for another Calm Mind. And both, unfortunately and fortunately for me, he is going to burn me with this next Steam Eruption. I say kind of fortunately because now he can't Toxic me, but I also say unfortunately because, like, if I didn't get burned and he wasn't able to Toxic me, I could have just 6-0'd him right here. Not that it's the biggest deal in the world. He's going to click sub here, not exactly sure why. I guess he was expecting me to go for Psyshock or something like that, but I did not. I could just click Roost. And on this turn, I'm going to go for another Calm Mind, so that now he cannot break my sub, but he does switch out into himself on the turn that I do that, which is still fine. Even if he tricks me, I get a kill with this Mew, but as it turns out, his best thing to do is just U-turn out, and he U-turns out into a Thunderous, which dies, which is awesome, because he's dead now, and that's really, really nice for me. Here he is going to send out his Crobat, and he's actually going to attempt to flinch me to death, because he doesn't have anything to deal with this Mew right now. He's going to get the first flinch. As long as he doesn't flinch or crit me on the next turn, I'll be able to recover up. And as you can see here, he does not flinch me, does not crit me, and I will be able to Roost up and get rid of all that damage, which is very nice. And on the following turn, I'll be able to get myself to near full HP as I go for the Roost once again. And now I can get another kill just by clicking Psyshock, because this Zelf cannot touch me. He's going to go for U-turn. Again, not doing a lot of damage to me, and he is going to decide to sack off his Crobat right now, which is really nice because now my Mega Altaria is in an even better spot. Like, I can beat most of his team now with Mega Altaria, which is really nice. He's going to send in Sand Slash. I know he's going to have knockoff, but I know I can take it, but he actually reveals to be an offensive Life Orbed Sand Slash, which means that he's going to do over half with the knockoff plus burn, and because I am burnt, and I no longer have leftovers, his Earthquake plus the burn will be doing over 50% to me, so he will be doing more damage to me than I'm able to recover. So what I decided to do is go out into my Mega Altaria, which is not Mega'd yet, be immune to the Earthquake, and then follow up with a Heal Bell, so that my Mew is no longer burnt and I can set up versus the rest of his team. However, he is going to reveal the Life Orb Poison Jab here, which is going to hurt quite a bit. And instead of going for the return to get damage off onto him, I just go out into Pilot Line because I can tank a Poison Jab. And he actually makes the switch out into his Volcanion, but because I'm specially defensive, I can tank that hit, I don't get burnt, and I can 2-KO him with the Earthquake. Of course, he can knock me out here, but he's actually going to overpredict, expecting my Jellicent to want to come out, and he's going to go for the Toxic, which is really nice for me, because now I get to get rid of his Volcanion, and there's genuinely very little standing in the way of Mega Altaria, bar this Sand Slash and possibly Heavy Slam on Gigalith. So what you're going to see here, I'm going to go for Ice Shard, get a crit as he knocks me out. The crit doesn't really matter that much. I'll be able to go into Thunderous regardless and knock him out. So I'm going to go for the HP Ice, knocks him out, would have knocked him out regardless if I got that crit or not, no big deal. And now he's going to go out into Gigalith. I'm okay with this because I can weaken this thing with a Thunderbolt, put him in range of my Jellicent Scald 100%, possibly weaken him for my Skuntank a little bit later on, weaken him for my Mew. And now I'm going to go out into Jellicent, go for the Scald, and try and get a burn on the incoming Azelf. I don't end up getting it, plus if he stayed in I would have been able to knock out his Gigalith, which is fine. But here, I'm going to go out into my Mega Altaria, expecting him to go for either a knockoff or a Thunderbolt. Turns out he just has Psyshock, which I thought was kind of curious because I did have Skuntank, but regardless, it worked out for him. So he's going to switch out, obviously with the U-turn, knocking out my Mega Altaria, as I can now go into my Mew, go for the Roost, as he crits me with Stone Edge. Not that big a deal because I can Roost on the following turn, and he can't beat me regardless. So it's at this point where he realizes that he has absolutely no way to win because, well, he says it in chat, and he's like, okay, you win, great game, I'm just going to let my things die. So that's pretty much what's going to happen for the rest of this game. He's going to spam attacks, I'm just going to hit him with attacks, and then Roost occasionally. His only chance of winning is if he crit me with that U-turn. Even then, I don't think that would have killed, and even then, Jellicent won at that point regardless, so it doesn't matter too much. I Roost. I believe on this turn, I go for Psyshock here, because the crit can't kill me. We saw that from earlier. Gonna Stone Edge, doesn't matter, gonna Roost. can't kill me with a crit. He's gonna miss anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then on this turn, I will be able to knock him out with the Sly Shock, which is very nice. And then he's gonna send in his elf. There's nothing he can do. Can't knock me out with anything. He's gonna reveal the Fire Blast. He's gonna miss. That doesn't matter either, and then I'm gonna knock him out with the Sly Shock. So, once again, we are going to pull away with a 3-0 win versus Alex, aka 1Z Bennett. So, thank you guys very much for watching. Check out both of our opponents in the description below. Once again, I apologize for these games being so late, and I apologize that they're both clumped together like this, but again, I am pretty short on time, and these battles were already late, and I didn't want to delay that more with team builders. Once again, thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope you're looking forward to PPL Week 11, the final week of PPL. We're going up against Liam, aka Unlawful Exile, coach of the West Chan United. So that's going to be an exciting game. We are fighting for, I believe, 3rd or 2nd place. I don't think we have a chance of the title yet. I could be wrong about that, but we're fighting to finish strong. We're fighting to finish 8-3. We're currently 7-3. We've had a good season. We're going to try and finish it strong. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you then.